Hey folks, this is Don Graves, and I've got my good friend Steve Parrish, and we're going to talk about a unique use of the reverse mortgage. But Steve, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thanks, Don. I am at the American College of Financial Services, and what I do is I'm the co-director of the Center for Retirement Income. So our world is involved with retirement income, including educating people through the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program. I also write a lot for Forbes and Kiplinger and publications like that on the issue of retirement planning and the estate planning that goes with it.
Thank you, Steve. Let's jump right into it. Steve, tell me a little bit about that article, and I'm going to share with you one strategy, one housing wealth strategy that may tie into it, but tell me what you're working on.
Well, that'd be great, Don. Well, what I'm focused on is something that I'm personally interested in. My background is certainly in working with estate planning and retirement planning, but I am a snowbirder. So I live 7-8 months a year in Florida, and then the other months in Des Moines, Iowa, where we're originally from and have family. And so I've been writing and researching a lot on the topic of snowbirding. And so what occurred to me is there's really not much in the, shall we say, the academic articles dealing with this. So I want to do a thorough article really exploring the financial implications of, you can call it snowbirding, but really it is having two residences. And I'm thinking of people, particularly in retirement, who either are slowing down or are totally retired, have kids up north, want to spend the winters down south. I know that's kind of a generalization, but that's the topic that I'm looking at, and certainly have been familiar over the years with things like reverse mortgages. So that's why I contacted you.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to share my screen because I want to I put together something that I was excited about. And I didn't know kind of your snowbirding background when I put this together, but this may actually be you in some regards here. So we're going to talk about Pierce and Linda here. And before I talk about them, just for those who may watch it, what is a reverse mortgage? In simplest terms, it's a non-recourse loan developed for those age 62 or better, though there's some programs for 55 and older. It allows folks to convert a portion of their home's value and turn it into tax-free dollars without making a monthly mortgage payment, giving up ownership, or coming off title. Now, the amount of money you get from a reverse mortgage is based on three things. It's this triangle: the age of the youngest borrower. So the benefit amount is actuarially based. The older you are, the more money you can conceivably borrow. Number two, the value of the property. And number three, the long-term interest rate index, which is we call the expected interest rate. So those three go into a formula. In the middle of the triangle gets spit out a benefit amount, how much money the client can get. If there's any existing mortgages on the property, that comes out from the net benefit amount, and what's left is what we call a GLOC, a G-L-O-C, not to be confused with a police-issued firearm, but what we call a growing line of credit. So here's some basic numbers. Across the top, the age of the borrower. Down the left-hand side, the value of the property. Now, depending on when the person is watching this, Steve, these numbers will vary. That a lower interest rate means a higher benefit amount, but a 65-year-old in a $600,000 home is getting about $200,000 today. 75-year and $400,000 gets about $157,000, and an 80-year-old and a $800,000 gets $355,000. So that's the basic premise on how a reverse mortgage works. Now, let's go Mark and Linda, 70 years of age. They have $750,000 in retirement, and they have a $630,000 home. The five major concerns of retirees: longevity, how long will my savings last, lifestyle, liquidity, legacy, and then long-term care. So Linda's primary concern is having enough money for all of retirement, but she also wants to enjoy her grandchildren. So longevity and legacy. Mark's primary concern is being able to play golf in the summer and ski in the winter. Okay. And so here's where the newly restructured reverse mortgage really can help. I call this the buy one, get one free model, or have your cake and eat it too. So they sell their home, and after selling, paying the realtor costs and all of that, they've got $600,000 left over in proceeds. So they go and look at a new home and the new home is $500,000. Well, they could take the $600,000 and spend it, but they don't have a lot left. One of the things they can do is use the HECM for purchase, or the reverse for purchase. Around 2009, that's a new type of reverse mortgage that allows you to buy your next home for about 50 to 65% down and have no monthly mortgage payments. So we're going to do for this family, we'll draw the triangle here, and based off of their qualifications, they can get a reverse mortgage for $200,000. We're going to subtract that from the purchase price of their new home. They haven't even moved in the house yet when this is started. So that means their down payment is $300,000. Well, where are they going to get that down payment money from? Simple, their departure home. So now they've bought their next home, $300,000 down, buys them a $500,000 home. So they go in, no mortgage payment, I should say, but they still have some money left over. They've got $300,000 left over. Then their second home is kind of a townhome condo where the grandchildren live. And that home is $300,000. And where do they get that from? Well, obviously, they got it from the proceeds of what they had left over. So what do we have here? So for Mark and Linda, the retirement income impact is they're able to enjoy the lifestyle they envision, play golf and ski, make sure we have money, be near the grandchildren 6 months, 7 months out of the year. It doesn't impact their cash flow, because when we're talking about retirement income, cash flow is certainly king. So they've got two homes and they don't have any mandatory monthly mortgage payments. And finally, it didn't erode their savings. They didn't have to get a mortgage. They didn't have to pull money out of savings to do this. And so that's an example of how from one home, and I sent you that video, that production they aired on CNBC, a real couple, the Coles, did exactly this right here. So what are your thoughts there, Steve Parrish, as I talk about that?
Well, this is very much what I was looking for, Don. Because what occurred to me is the kind of the topics that I'm thinking of financially are own versus rent. But the fact is, most people, once they hit retirement, they really don't want to be renters. And so if there's a way they can truly own, that's one of them. Second, downsizing is not a bad thing. It's a good thing for people who are trying to simplify your life. And so when you're talking about buy or two for the price of one type of thing, that makes a lot of sense because the kids are gone. You don't need the 4 or 5 bedrooms. And so 2 condos or a townhome make a lot more sense. And so what I was really trying to think through is what's out there to help finance and make it all happen. And obviously I have a background to know that, well, what about reverse mortgages? And so I thought I'd come to the best and the brightest in the topic.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope that helps for your article. It is a fun strategy that many don't know about. I'll put it back up again, just one more walkthrough for those who may watch this, that you sell your departure home and they had $600,000 left over. They bought the new home, was $500,000, did a reverse mortgage for purchase on the new home. Now that happens before you actually move in. We can start that with an agreement of sale. So their down payment was $300,000. They took that from the $600,000, so they had $300,000 left. And with that, they can buy their second home for $300,000 and do that. And someone says, what if I wanted a $600,000 home or $400,000? It doesn't matter. The same principle applies. Whatever you want to buy here, you'll have money left over. And if you wanted to add money to make this second home maybe another $100,000, you could do that. I was just looking at things that didn't have to necessarily cannibalize assets to make it right.
And in thinking this through, it's a concept that works in holistic planning. And some of the planning you need to do then is start thinking through cash flow. Nice thing here is you're not taking assets away to get there. So if you go to 2 condos, you might have 2 HOA fees. And so you have to kind of think through what you're doing there. But again, if you haven't jeopardized your retirement capital by going through this transaction, you're going to be in a better situation to be able to cash flow those kind of things for 2 places versus 1.
Sure. And I think most would agree that having two homes will be slightly more expensive than just having one. So that's got to be part of your calculation because there's property taxes and insuring the home and things of that nature. But using the reverse mortgage in a strategic way like this can alleviate some of the burden and accelerate some of the joy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'd like to it appears you have, well, you do have a tangible example that would be helpful to have just to make the point, because that is fairly classic type of situation. These are people who are maybe affluent, but not wealthy, but in a position because of their interests and their grandchildren, all that really having two places makes sense. But again, once you hit retirement age, you really don't want to be a renter. And this is a way to solve that issue.
Hey, and remember to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get updates every time I post a new video.